Sports concussions.
How to handle concussions.
A topic that's been in the news a lot of late. The connection between repeated concussions and long-term degenerative brain disease.
I had a concussion. I had two. My second one, which was the one that led to me having to quit volleyball.
In addition to the 5, I've probably had maybe 10 total. I would guess maybe 8 to 10 total probably that I haven't reported them.
I had a permanent brain injury, and it was from the hit that I got back in the Big 12 tournament during warm-up.
Concussion is really a simple definition. It's an injury to the brain that affects function. So if you sprain your ankle, you limp. And if you sprain your brain, then you can't think as well. So it disrupts a mild traumatic brain injury or a sports concussion affects the cognitive and emotional and physical ability of the brain to function. The majority of concussions occur in football, but girls soccer is number 2 and boys soccer is number 3. They say that about 10% of all athletes get a concussion every year.
The first game of the Big 12 tournament, we were warming up, and one of my teammates was kind of frustrated, and she was shagging a soccer ball, and she kicked the ball really hard, and it just happened to hit me right in the back of my head. I blacked out apparently and crumbled to the ground kind of like a Raggedy Ann doll, and I passed out. I didn't know what happened, and that first half of the game versus Texas, I was not the player I usually was. I kicked the ball the wrong way on the field towards my own goal. The only thing I remember from that day is I was sitting on the bench at halftime and my body was literally going side to side. And my trainer was talking to me and she was just spinning. And my eyes were hurting, and that's all. I was really nauseous. I wanted to throw up. That's kind of all I really remember from that day.
Yeah, it was just during a practice, and a teammate and I collided, and initially I didn't think I had a concussion. Her knee hit my head, and I got up and was pretty dizzy and kind of felt weird, but kept playing. And then about 5 minutes later, I realized that, okay, something's not right. And so I walked off the court and found the trainer and told her that, I was kind of seeing stars and something felt off. And so at that point, she basically said, you probably have a concussion.
Worst one I had was my junior year. I set back off the ball, and I remember my defensive end dropped, and I knew that there was a safety coming to crack me, and that would just block me or hit me, and I didn't get my head turned, and he hit me, and I, arm went comatose on the ground. I had blood and plasma coming out of my ears, and my nose was bleeding.
There are signs and symptoms such as dizziness, confusion, amnesia before the event, after the event. There's headache, which are symptoms. There's confusion, and there's about 8 or 9 different ones that we look at when we try to define a concussion.
Headaches, for sure. Sensitivity to light, and difficulty being able to, again, do work, schoolwork, difficulty being able to think clearly, agitation, so emotionally it can be very difficult.
Symptoms right with the concussion, range from sensitivity to light, sensitivity to sound. Lasting symptoms that I have every day, to now I'm done playing football. I have headaches for about 30 minutes after I wake up, and probably about 30 minutes after I, start trying to shut down, going to bed. Memory loss. I'm very forgetful now. Temperament changes a little bit. Sometimes I'll get really upset and angry.
I don't remember a lot of things from that semester. And I missed a lot of school, and it impacted my grades and my GPA and, things that you can't take back.
I've had to change my whole studying routine. 20 minutes of studying and then about 5 minutes off. I can only really study for about 20 minutes, and or else I get a really bad headache. There's some things, like if I get really stressed out, I have really bad headaches, and I just have to kind of calm myself down. So pretty much every month I have 1 or 2 pretty bad headaches.
In kids under age 21, there's a syndrome called second impact syndrome, which means you've had a concussion. If you go back too soon before the concussion is healed, like within 2 weeks, then you're at risk of death or permanent brain damage. Long-term effects are reduced cognitive ability, reduced ability to function in society, just almost like having a stroke, but it's not like having a stroke. We have students that can't go back to college and can't function as an adult. So those are some of the long-term effects.
We know, that trauma in the brain can affect mood, some mood instability, so emotions going up and down for no apparent reason. And again, that can lead to feelings of depression, anxiety, because if your mood's going up and down, you can start to feel really anxious about, oh my gosh, like I'm feeling okay now, but when am I not going to feel good again? When am I going to feel down?
A little bit of anxiety. I wouldn't say depressed.
It's really sad. I was in a dark place, kind of. The depression, though, it was a struggle.
I felt like I could only trust myself, but at the same time, I was questioning myself because, you don't even have like clear thoughts sometimes, and so it was a struggle.
Again, athletes, a big part of them is their athletic identity. And again, for any athlete who's injured, who may have a career-ending injury, that's going to have a big impact on them. Coming to terms with, as I say, every athlete has a relationship with their sport.
After all I'd been through, I found life outside of soccer, and I found myself, because I let soccer define me. And I found Rebekah.
You're like, who am I and what am I? Because I'm no longer a volleyball player. I can't identify myself as just a volleyball player. I have to be something else, which has kind of made me have this self-realization that I'm more than just an athlete.
When they take something away, when you take something away that someone's been doing for so long, it's kind of hard to figure out like what you are. And so being done with football, it's been a process. I mean, it's only been 4 months, and I can say, when I was getting done with it, I was like, oh man, I'm ready to be done. And then now I sit there and look back, and I just wish I could get it back.